Okay, so I've been actually listening to the counseling videos. I don't know if it's just because I'm at a time now where I can listen to them, and I don't feel as annoyed by them right now, or if it's just the different people. Maybe it's just the different people. I don't know. It's like the people who are talking about this stuff right now, they feel more genuine than the script reading ones. Now the script reading ones, it was like they were all reading from the same script. And right now it feels like the people who are talking about this stuff are actually from the communities where I was at, because we were talking about the same thing. And so a lot of them are out of the crafting communities. They have the same issues. And so, it's that thing where when people are in a room with each other, and be that a Facebook group or be that in person, these are the things that people talk about. There are things that are important to them. And that is, they have another woman to identify with because something has happened with their son. I mean, what we're identifying, I always said that we could reverse engineer the economy. The economy is challenging because we are fighting up against the money people who just keep raising prices just because. But the toxic anger, that's hard to deal with because men tend to hold things inside. And so it's like for myself, I'm finding that I like to talk about things to get it out of my system because I don't know what to do with it. Praying to God does not help me. So I like to talk about it in a video and then put it up. But at the same time, like tonight, I put up a video. It was just a 3-minute short video, and I used a certain word with it. But then I think if someone of that age watches it, then they're going to take it personally. And I find that with men, I can call them names and call them all the liberal stuff that they call me, liberal. That doesn't offend me really, because it's like I could be a liberal righty person or a conservative whiny crybaby person in the same sense. And so, the anger doesn't help. Being angry at someone doesn't help. For me, I find getting it out of my system and talking about it is what helps. But then I'm finding when I put something on one of my videos, or someone right now, I got some guy from the UK leaving a very, some things that could lead to toxic male, he's expressing some anger, and he's from the UK right now. He's left a couple of comments, and so I don't know, unless he's trying to rage bait. That's the only thing I can think, that the guy could be trying to rage bait from the UK because he's not getting the views he thinks he should be getting. And so, but he has a son, and so the only thing I can do is just write back some things. I watched a couple of his videos. I didn't object to watching his videos, but I don't see really much of, I don't understand what he's doing, related to, I mean, he did take the time to write to me, but he wanted to call me names, and he wanted to call me a Karen is what he did. And it's like, what, I don't even know what I did to, have him thinking that I'm a Karen when I'm telling my truth of what happened. I can play the video of what happened with my second marriage, and I'm going to be called the Karen because I've already had that happen, where I was describing what happened in my second marriage, and men have actually said, well, you should have shut the fuck up and listened to your husband, and you should have not talked back to him. And so this is anywhere from 13-year-old boys telling me this to men who are, maybe 18, 19, 20 years old. I find that the ones who are more mature, who actually raise their kids and take care of their kids as they get more mature, they actually are better at listening and better at, a lot of things related to life. Now, granted, that doesn't mean that they still don't have and possess some type of internal issues related to their mom, I get it. And, this is the thing I hope is if there is a male who would actually listen, because women understand this too. We've had the same thing happen, where as we're aging, we go back into the parent roles when we get with our parents during family reunions and things like that, and family get-togethers. Detected Violation detected and live now to avoid suspension. I know you guys put that on all the time. What is I don't even know what the violation is that I did. What's the violation that I did? You guys put that up all the time. Are you like artificial intelligence or something? I'm not sure, because I don't know what I put up there, and I don't know what I'm doing. Or you could be a troll, maybe. I don't know. I don't know if you're a human troll account or if you're an AI troll account. I know you have the little purple crown there. That's, and so, I'm just talking from my heart. And why should I be censored when I'm talking from my heart related to things in society that are taking place? And then so myself and a whole bunch of other people are seeing the same things happen. We have young men now who are actually expressing, they are in their 20s now. And they are talking about, I think they're in their 20s. That's what they look like. They look pretty young. And they are talking about things of never being able to own things because they don't use the word inflation quite yet, but they are understanding the path of what's taking place with never owning a house, never owning anything, because I was just thinking about, yeah, it's true. When you buy a car, the government owns your car to various degrees. So, I should be charging rent to the United States government, to the state government for having a tag on the car. I should be charging them rent, but can I do that? No, I can't do that. Now, government sometimes is easier to get along with than corporations. Now, corporations, they just keep raising prices higher and higher and higher, and they doubled prices during COVID. And so this is related to the interest rate, because now they're trying to drop the interest rate down. That's what they want to do, is drop the interest rate down so that they get, so they can make it appear that interest rates are going down so that people buy houses. People are going to run right out and pay $500,000 for that 1,000 square foot house. You got another thing coming. Notification. I don't know what you are. You must be some kind of troll or something. I don't know. Suspension for what? You could be part of a network. You could literally be part of a network of, let's see here. I don't know if I should pin this or, let's see. I can put the notification in a timeout, or I could report it to YouTube. I really don't want to do that, because I think it could be a troll account that's doing this, or someone from a network. And see, that's what I'm finding, that the network people, they're using kids. They are absolutely using kids. They're taking either their own kids or their entertainment acting kids, who might be foster kids and migrant kids that they have caroused up. And so then they just put them on phones because they don't care what they write. They don't care what they do. I saw a kid yesterday that had presumably made a response on one of my YouTube videos. And the kid in the video, I'm telling you, looked like it was about 2 years old. And I'm thinking, no kid who is 2 years old can write like that. So they took a picture of a baby, and I don't know where they got it. Maybe it was stock footage from Hollywood or something. I have no idea. Or they took a picture of some migrant's baby. I don't know. But the only thing that I do know is that a kid can't write like that. They can't just write the things that they had on there. So it was just kind of rather ridiculous what was going on related to the comment. The comment they left, it wasn't bad or anything like that. I just see something coming out of the networks, so this alternative group of people, and I think it's the church networks that are doing it. I just have a suspicion, a hunch. I don't know for a fact, but what I hear coming out of church is the, you know how they talk out both sides of their mouth. And so when I hear them speak on YouTube, I'm listening to what they say. That they're yearning for people to be getting back in those churches. That's what they want. And I've made the analogy in my other video. It's not the one that I made private. I think the other video I have is still up. It was a short video. But I was talking about, how people in my own family had, the sisters, my aunts, I'll call them my aunts, not necessarily men, the uncles, but the aunts. They yearn for how things were back in the day. I could kind of tell that when they were in their 50s, they were yearning for that. They were wanting to have the get-togethers. They wanted the kids to be able to take things over and do things. However, we weren't in a situation to be able to do that. A lot of us had ties to the military and we moved different places, and it was next to impossible. And I know that people had feelings about the United States military, and that they felt that the housing was dumpy and things like that. I never thought I thought it was a place to live. I never thought of it as dumpy because I thought it was a place I had to live. And, so that it kind of became the thing where when you hear things like that coming from your own family, it becomes hurtful. When you see your family doing really well and they're buying mansion type houses, or they just own a house that was brand new, and you feel like you'll never be able to do that. And then once again, it just, it's like, I'm not creating this reality. I did not create this. I'm not going to own that. I am not going to own the words where people tell me on the internet that I'm creating this reality and I deserve to be living this way. I'm not going to own that. I don't think other people should own it either. I don't think anyone in the military or anyone in poverty should own that thinking of that you deserved what happened because you just couldn't figure out how to do what the other people were doing. The other people are doing deceptive practices. That's what they're doing. They're greedy. And they don't like it when you call them greedy. They really don't like it when you call them greedy. They just feel like because they figured out a way to manipulate and steal money from the American taxpayers, they think that they should own that money. And so they're profiteering. They're greedy. I have no other words to call it. The other direction I can go, and I'm very strong suited in this, is saying that they are fraudulent and they're money laundering. I can go in that direction too, and I do it very well. So I get that part because they can, when they're always talking about, they've put those TV shows on NBC forever and forever. Until the 12th of never, like the song Donny Osmond sang, until the 12th of never. So they talk about it all the time. So if they're not money laundering, what in the world are they doing other than being greedy? So there you go, Mr. Notification. Why would I be suspended? Well, yeah, the insurance thing. Is that where we're going with this? The insurance thing? Because, there are states, and I have to say this probably as a reminder to myself. I hope it will come up. This of interest base probably come up in my feed soon too. And this is very important because not all states have where you are required to carry insurance on your car. And this is very important for people who are in welfare, soldiers, military, because you are paying insurance, you are paying higher prices, and people who are older who don't drive as much are paying higher prices. And I'm one who says, even though I'm older, I take on the notion and say, well, why should I get special benefit? I don't get any special benefits right now. But I will take on that notion and say, why should I get special benefits because I'm older? I think that 18-year-olds should have the same benefits because they can't get by. When I see that with my grandkids, and they can't get by and they have to live with someone else, they're homeless. Anybody who has to live with someone else is homeless, be that in a shelter, be that in a transient place such as a hotel, a dump transient place in a hotel. You're homeless if you have to live in if you can't get into an apartment to rent because they're requiring you to have a job making a certain amount of money. You're homeless. So anytime that you're living in an apartment and you have a job, or you're required to have a job, it does become a slave sort of situation, like the young man was saying. And I'm going to go and listen to his video here soon and finish listening to what he had to say about it, because I'm actually happy that these young people are understanding what's going on. I am thrilled because the thing is, 10 years, okay, we're 20 years into YouTube. So in the past 20 years, the education of what's going on is working on YouTube. These guys are learning about it. And it's not, my thinking is it's not for them just to know about it and be miserable and feel miserable the rest of their life. I want legislation to change it. That's what I'm asking for, is legislation to change. This is not a lefty thing or a righty thing. This is an American problem. We are on a sinking ship. We are on the Titanic with this path of non-sustainability with the monetary way that things are working in the United States right now, with inflation the way it is. And we have a voice to be able to talk about it with the internet, be that whatever platform that you choose to use. Hopefully the other platforms are expressing the same things too. Because when we sit here and we look at the president and he's a billionaire, Elon Musk is like a billionaire his own self. Even, oh my gosh, the thing of Tyler Perry came up again. He's a 1.5 billion dollars, and he is, well, they said he's actually suspended. He was going to build a new complex of some sort. It almost sounded like a thing like Disney was going to do down in Florida. So he had plans to put 500 million into some type of city thing or something like that. And then when AI came out, it sounded like in 2024, when AI came out, Chat GPT and all this stuff started coming out, that he put his plans on pause because of that. And so they just want us glued to the TV. And so they're taking loans out from banks is what's happening with Hollywood. Ellen DeGeneres already said this. What's it been like? 3 years ago, 3.5, 4 years ago, when she ended her show. Now, I mean, Ellen DeGeneres' show may have been, who knows how much of it was pre-recorded before it was even put on the air. Now, I'm not saying that some of the show was not actually newer, I mean, so if someone who kind of maintains the same weight, then it's going to be pretty easy for her to jump in, to take some old content that they recorded years and years before. But they are taking cutting room floor footage content and actually putting it on the internet and putting it on as TV shows right now. That's what they're doing. And so, yeah. Yeah. The kids, they are understanding a lot, And something I always said that, and I don't know how they feel about it because I can't get through to the NAACP and the ACLU, the two really, really big civil liberty unions. I always said if they took and instead they fought for civil liberties of all Americans, they would go a whole lot further than what they do with breaking it down based on skin color. Because the only thing they're doing is tearing apart the heart and the soul of America and that of the kids who are mixed. All of us are mixed. If they actually started making content related to how all of us are mixed, instead of, presenting an angry mixed culture from a certain era 400, 500, 600 years ago, they would go a lot further with focusing on all of us are mixed. And there is a big portion of the young generation who understands it. That with people who are on YouTube, and then even people in Hollywood and entertainment. So there are some commonalities, common denominators between YouTube and Hollywood. And you're going to be able to kind of tone down, this is my opinion, you're going to be able to tone down the feelings of hatred towards cultures and each other if you focus on what we have in common, such as mixed, that nobody is pure. There's no such thing as black, there's no such thing as white, which there isn't. We know that. We're smart. Congress says American citizens are smart, and sometimes they take on the role of dumb, their own self. Congress does, because they will admonish their self and they will just self-chastise and deprecate, and they are really hard on their self a lot of the times when it comes to things. And so, hello, M Wild One. I think I got that right, M Wild One. Do you have a question you'd like to ask or anything specific you'd like to talk about? I don't remember what I put in my I know what I put in my title related to the toxic nature of men. And I want to talk about that so bad from my perspective, but I get called all kinds of names when I do. With women, I'm preaching to the choir. With men, then it seems to come up with the ones who actually literally are angry, and they've had bad dads. It's like, but if I say, okay, you've had a bad dad, he has problems his own self, I don't know that that's helpful. It is. The kids already know that their dad is terrible. They already know that. So, so the thing I think about with therapy is, running it through your head over and over and over again so much to the point that, okay, how do I feel about this now? Am I at a place where I can write about it? It's okay for me to think about it. What do I do with it now? How is it going to affect me in the future? What if I want a relationship? So this is related to things that have happened to me in my life, because I've been met with violent physical abuse, and I've been told a lot of things that I deserved what happened to me by entities on the internet. And they told me that for several years, that I deserved what happened to me. I don't feel like I deserved what happened to me. Thankfully, I come across other people, but I just wasn't in a place, but because it was coming at me so fast and so furious that, and then I would write and respond back to those people on the internet, and then the comments from me would end up getting censored. And so it's like, okay, this just feels like a place where I can't even live and survive on the internet, related to it being a platform where my voice matters, because I feel like my voice doesn't matter. That's how I was feeling, like my voice doesn't matter because I'm trying to express something. But then the other people, who I call them toxic, and that's both for men and women, when they have a certain message that they want to portray and put out there. And that's a lot of it's related to politics and the activism groups. And then their messages are louder than everybody else's. And it's like, well, where is our platform? We can't get through to politics. Even though I think politics already knows it. Church doesn't want to hear about politics at all. Church does not want to hear about politics until they have a fire in the church and they want their church building saved. Then they will hear about politics. They want to hear about politics, and they want the fire department to respond to put the fire out of their building. That's the only time that church really is interested in politics. Or if they need a road fixed or a water main fixed or something like that, then they might want to hear about politics. So I mean, I think church would be an ideal place. I don't hear of many churches. Now, well, there are some churches, I think, that do talk about politics, but then they want to push their church and their religion. And that's a problem, So if they're, so they have an ulterior motive. They have a building, they have a place where politicians could go, but then at the same time, they want to push religion. Because I've had this thing, being on the internet, I've just watched, I observe, I pay attention to what's taking place, what's going on in our society. And even, from old TV shows, yes, I know old TV shows, nothing on TV is real. Absolutely nothing is real. But I take what is based off of real life because that's where they get the stories from, is based off of real life. And so back in the day with the one-room schoolhouse, they showed the politicians straggling into town. They were trying to talk to the city people, the little small rural people. The people were kind of scared of them. They really didn't want to talk to them. They didn't like the politicians for some reason. They didn't trust them. That's what I saw with the old-fashioned covered wagon. They really didn't trust the politicians. So something else must have been going on back then with the politicians, for them not to trust them. But they're always coming out of the big cities, though, too. And it's like, yeah, it makes sense. They're coming out of the big cities. They straggle on into the small towns, and the small towns are being left behind. We still see that in 2025. It's the same thing is going on. Same thing is happening. It's a rinse and repeat. The same thing is happening over and over again. And it just is, it's just like the government is running autonomously. They do have some things put in place that actually are useful to people right now, and but it's like they need to put things in place that is more useful to people, more helpful to people. And but having an autonomous government is not working very well. It doesn't work, especially when we are, we want everybody to be educated to various degrees. College educated, that's a big business right there. College educated. Sports is not important. Sports is not important at all. We don't need sports. We just don't. We don't need sports. Now, a lot of people will say, oh, we don't need the internet. Well, if it wasn't for the internet, where would our education come from? Because we can put together some good educational stuff. If you want educational stuff, we will put it together and we will give you some really decent education. But it would be great to get paid too. So do you not pay your public school teachers? The answer is you pay them, don't you? And you pay them a lot of extra money, and you inflate their salary. You give them cost of living raises, don't you? You sure do. So why should the rest of us just not get paid for things? Now, right now, I've decided I have made a choice to do things because I feel there's a point and a purpose to it. So I'm making a choice to do things. And so I'm saying that right now, I am willingly volunteering to do videos. Well, a lot of it's good therapy for myself though right now too, because I talk things through and then I help myself feel better. And that's all I can do. So when people say to journal, I make video journals. I make myself feel better. So the more I talk about it, then I don't get resistance. I might get a straggling comment every once in a while. I've asked for comments that are, it would be great to have a conversation, but I don't get that. The truth is, I never even got that when I was teaching crochet. I would just get people who were kind of repeating things that I was doing in the videos. And then YouTube started doing that too. So when, at one point they asked me if I wanted to be able to talk to YouTube on the phone. And these people were then from the foreign countries. I never questioned why they were from the foreign countries, and I should have. I really should have, because it's like, well, why was all of AdSense people from foreign countries instead of American citizens? I should have questioned that, but I never did. And then they kept pushing it further and further. So there was a guy who was from a foreign country, from Stanford, and he said he was a doctor, and he came to the United States. He got his doctorate, and then he was just stayed in the United States. I never questioned that. I never thought to question it, because I was thinking, my gosh, if I questioned Google, everybody was saying that at the beginning. So this shows the culture of where our mindset was at the beginning of YouTube. People were like, I don't want to question Google, because it's like, they're who is feeding us right now. They're who is giving us money. But now think about what's happening, oppressing the money, or is Google just keeping the money? What's going on there? What's going on there? And so, I should have been questioning Google. Google gives us the ability to question them, and we should. And it's like, why does Google have it's an American company. Why do they have a Indian CEO of the company now? We should question that. Because it's an American company, why do we have to have a foreign CEO of the company? We shouldn't. Shouldn't it be an American citizen? I mean, even the government isn't even questioning that. They don't question the ethnicity. They're not questioning the ethnicity that they have a foreigner that's leading Google right now, that's the CEO of Google right now. Shouldn't they? I mean, Google can actually have multiple CEOs. So I don't know, is Google a franchise? I never thought of that. Is Google a franchise, and they sell parts of their services as a franchise in foreign countries? Kind of like TikTok. Is TikTok a franchise? See, this just popped in my head. Is it a franchise? I don't know. But they, if there was people watching, they should see that the Walmart complexes they're trolling, and doing some things within the Walmart complexes itself. Walmart is not going to survive like this. Walmart is a very toxic company. It's for Wall Street, and that's what they've said, that Walmart is having a lot of problems itself, because they just will they'll just put their employees on less hours so they don't have to pay them.